Hello, my soul family. Welcome to the Spiritual Counseling TV network, and welcome to our spiritual guidance for this beautiful week of February 19th through the 25th of 2024. My name is Christy Ramirez. I am a soul coach, spiritual influencer, and motivational speaker. And as we sit here today, this beautiful afternoon for some Paris tea time, we are going to be having a little coffee talk over the energies of this week and a little bit of a heads up before we bring in the oracle cards and our angel messages from spirit, from God, to help guide us and make each week better than the last, better than last week, because last week was like an amazing energy, which is why I felt really called to resume this series. And I felt very positive, and it actually turned out very positive. My week was amazing. My routine is more on track. I am sticking with it. I'm following through on my plans, on my goals. I feel more motivated than I did even in the beginning of this year. So with this week coming up, I feel like it's just building off of that energy, and it's gonna be even greater. It's gonna bring more excitement, because I feel like also we spoke about certain changes that we were guided to make last week. And if you did follow through with those changes, this week you're gonna look forward to doing that all over again. You're gonna fall in love with your routine. And this is so amazing, because this is really a guidance. Embrace your self-care, embrace what you do for a living, embrace your work schedule, even embrace your day-to-day structure, because that not only gives us joy and is the happiness that fuels us in life, but it's what's going to make it or break it in your life when it comes to success, when it comes to you achieving your peak in this life and really leaving behind something meaningful. You need to be happy, and you need to be at grace and at peace with how you go about your days. We are not allowed bad mood days. We're not allowed days when we're feeling down. Although that is something that might come up, because we're still human and we are imperfect. We strive for perfection, and we strive to see through it once it hits us, because we will all feel it. Even the lightest of light workers, even the happiest of people, they will have their moments. And it can be as simple as 5 minutes, or it can be a whole day of that moment, which would be a disgrace, right? Because it's almost like you're wasting away that beautiful day, is how I see it. And I like to pick myself back up, and I like to remind myself how much I have to be grateful for. There's always something to be thankful for, and gratitude is what keeps me centered and grounded in that. And it helps me to always put a smile on my face, whether or not I feel like it. But my goal is to actually feel like smiling genuinely all the time, right? Because that's what life's about. It's not about lying to yourself or lying to others. It's about being truthful. It's about showcasing the real you. And this real you, we want it to be glad. We want it to be happy. We want it to be smiling. We want it to be good energy and high vibrations, right? And we want to be very friendly, very open-hearted. And that's how we build community relationships. That's how we build connections. That's how we build this teamwork and mission that needs to happen in conjunction with others, right? Because again, God has given us big missions, big dreams, that it just can't be done all alone. Maybe in the beginning stages it can. Like, think of an artist, think of a genius of some kind. Usually when they're in those genius phases of being a visionary and creating that vision, putting the pieces together, the puzzle pieces together, that can get confusing, and you can go back and forth with experimenting, trial and error. But eventually when you figure it out, which that day will come, right? You're not always going to be back and forth. If you really put your mind to it, and you focus and you put your intention on strategizing correctly, you will eventually figure it out. And then the next step of making that vision a reality and manifest into something great, that's where others need to come in. Because again, you don't have all the skill sets to do other things that might not even be in your scope of mastery. So I think that this week is definitely a week of reflection for that. It might not be the week necessarily to have those conversations or to start to bring people together into a sort of team, but it's definitely the beginning brainstorming stages this week, especially because we're still at the beginning of the year. I like to think of February as the most productive as the most productive month of the year before we even start March, because March is already starting to feel like spring, and I feel like spring season is like when it's already starting to bloom. It's the growing stages, it's the evolution of that idea, of that vision that you set forth, started reflecting, and also really reflecting and reviewing past choices, your life decisions, your life path, where you're at. In January has been a heavy reflection month, and February is just more about like the planning. It's all about the planning of how we're going to manifest in March, manifestation March, right? So February is about planning, making your plans, and if there are certain things that are not yet ready to be, I guess, step forward to and put your feet in the water per se, it's okay, because there might still be something that needs to happen or some ideas that you still need to kind of write down. So be patient. That's still a key part of this process and the soul journey, is be patient with how slow or how fast things go, because for some things there are quick changes. I can tell you there's still a lot of changes to like even my routine, lots of changes like nonstop every week, but I feel like this is the week where I finally figured it out, where not only is it going to be feel good, but it's conducive to growth and it's functionable to do everything, right? Because it needs to be efficient and productive. So even though some of the days of the week for me are super busy, barely getting any sleep, I do catch up on other days. So it's about having that balance, right? That healthy balance, and knowing that you can do it, knowing that you also can step outside your comfort zone, because that's how you push yourself to greatness. That's how you keep your body guessing, and that's also how you teach your mind and your body and your spirit discipline and commitment. And these are all the things that God requires of us on the mission. So I think that that's a beautiful way of beginning our little coffee talk today. A little heavy, but it's definitely what is the energy. So sweet. So we also just came off Valentine on the previous week, like I did say. So I do feel that also this is the week. Keep bringing in that self-love and sweet energy into your week, and I feel like pamper yourself a little more. Take the last weeks of February, this is like the last week of February actually, to bring in all the self-love that you can, the self-care, self-compassion. And trust me that when you start March, you're not only going to feel renewed, but you're going to be capable of energetically putting that energy into what you're needing to be done. Because if you're drained or you're depleted, whether emotionally or energetically, you're not going to be able to follow through efficiently and at your highest potential, performance-wise, right? In whatever area you're needing to perform. So definitely this is the week. If you need to also, I wouldn't recommend necessarily like taking a full like rest day off like your schedule. Definitely stick to your routine. Make sure to pencil in self-care, and just this week do things that will kind of bring in more of that self-care energy without being lazy and without necessarily taking extra vacation days. Like for me, I think I took enough vacation during winter season, during the holidays, and in January at the beginning of winter for me is like a retreat mode. So I definitely am well rested when it comes to vacation. If anything, I am angsty to be productive and get a lot of things done. So for me, that's been kind of like my little, I don't want to say struggle, it's more like a challenge, because while still I'm adjusting energetically to be able to get all these things done in a good mood, in grace, with love, it feels good when you are able to do everything with discipline like God's soldier, but also with love, like a divine feminine. And that's that healthy balance that we can bring into our life as for the rest of this year and for the rest of your life for that matter. This is a big lesson that we are learning this month and this week so that we can apply it for the rest of our lives, because that is what brings inner peace. When you are able to do things in grace, when you are confident that you can get things done and not feel fearful or anxious if time's running out, because guess what? Time is really infinite. Time is also an illusion. So for me, that's kind of like my challenge sometimes. I feel like, it's getting late. I'm not done yet. Sometimes I'm not even halfway done yet. Sometimes I don't even finish with the things of the day, and I have to kind of flow it into the next day, and the next day gets a little behind. But eventually things get done somehow, some way, as if by a miracle. And maybe I do need to skip one thing out of the list, but again, that's kind of like that healthy balance and that healthy compassion that we can offer ourselves, is that if you can't get one thing done out of everything you put on your list, it's okay, right? You don't need to be so hard on yourself, because again, you only have one body and one energetic soul to do the things, right? And especially if you don't have like an assistant or something and you're doing things by yourself, then we need to offer ourselves a little bit more compassion, right? So I think that this is definitely the root of the start of our success, and these healthy habits that we are building, that is really going to help us thrive and really ascend into the top. So keep at it, don't give up. Just because it gets difficult one little second of the day, or even one day maybe it's a little bit more difficult than another, or your morning routine wasn't as either aesthetic or graceful as the day prior, it's okay, right? You're human. Just sit down with your emotions and ask yourself why you were feeling that way, because I think that also, bringing in a little psychological counsel here as a therapist, I think it's important that we do be honest with our emotions. If you have any emotional either outbursts or reactions, or you're triggered by anything that happens throughout your day, then that is a message to you, right? That's a message telling you maybe what you need to work on, or maybe what's bothering you, or maybe you need to back off a little bit. Maybe you're working too hard, or something might be going on in your life, right? Whether that's internally, personally, or within your relationships, or where you're at in life as well, right? Maybe you are frustrated with where you're at, or maybe your failures, or something hasn't been manifested yet and you're anxious to make it happen. So all of these things can get the best of us, right, emotionally, and that's understandable, right? Even as a therapist, I can tell you that's very empathetically understandable, because anybody would be frustrated. But the challenge is being the bigger person within yourself, helping you to function through your superconscious, which is your higher self within, and help you to see things from a bigger perspective, a larger scale, and even futuristic point of view. What would you tell your future self if you would see and you would rewind back to this moment that maybe you're feeling out of sorts, you're not feeling your best? What would you tell yourself, your younger self per se? And this future self is almost like the mature self that you want to become. Everybody has envisioned this kind of ideal self that they want to be, right? And we're trying to kind of like reach that aspiration of who we want to be, who we want to be portrayed as well. So how we want people to see us, view us. And if you're not in alignment with that ideal self, it can definitely create a discrepancy between that. And then that's also where that fallout comes in, where maybe confusion comes in, or these emotional reactions come in, because you're not there yet, right? So we need to be compassionate, and we need to realize that if we continue with what we need to be doing, if we continue with the process, if we continue to put in the work, to stay faithful, to stay consistent, showing up, then eventually we will reach that point of our ideal self. So just be patient and know that in divine timing all shall be, and everything will come about as it should, because we can only control so much as well. We might want to force or rush our progress or our growth, but that will only do more harm than good. So we need to really stay patient with the timing of what we're meant to be doing, and just enjoy where you're at right now. That's another thing, you know, not only gratitude for where you're at, but realizing that when you're somewhere else in the future, you're going to look back to this moment and you're going to realize how beautiful, how peaceful it was. And who knows, for some people the future might be better than this moment. For others they might not, because maybe I've seen that happen, right? They don't appreciate the best of their moment. A lot of people had their best moments too young to even appreciate it and see the value in it, and so their future is not as great as their younger future, or as their younger life per se. But for others who maybe haven't yet reached where they want to be in their younger years, it gets better as they get older, like wine, right? Like wine that gets tastier and tastes better as it gets older. That's how your life will be. So just know that there's always something better, but be present in your moment. Be present in this moment and know that it is a gift from God. It is a gift from heaven. It is paradise, and it's just you. It's just you right now, and that's all that you need to focus on. So I would say that this week, definitely just continue. Get your planner, look at your planner, stay on top of your planner, have it throughout the week as well. That's also something that I've been trying to do. Like today, before coming on here, I spent a little time in my home office, which is my fashion office here, and I started to look at my planner. I was looking at my client files, doing paperwork, and that's just like my part of my new little routine, right? So that I can get that out of the way, which is like all the kind of paperwork stuff. But then I get ready and I'm ready for the day, and who knows what else comes through. So I am actually sitting here on a Friday afternoon, so pretty early for filming these. But since again that's also part of my changes, it's like doing the kind of office work during business hours so that I can spend more time in my personal life on the weekend. And that's kind of like how I create balance, right? So that's just an example. Maybe that's something that you also need to do, like a shift in your schedule, so that you can have it all, right? And that's key to happiness, to success. If any of you have ever had a journal, that in the beginning it helps you to analyze your life, it will ask you to put goals for different areas of your life. Like it could be health goals, it could be relationship goals, personal goals, financial goals, career goals, spiritual goals, right? There's so many different areas in our life. So it's not efficient for you to just focus on one area, right? We need to be balanced and give our attention to different areas of our life. Maybe there are priorities in your life, such as like if you're very passionate about your career, or maybe you're experiencing like health issues or family relationships or new relationships. So at different times of our life, we will have different priorities. But yet all areas still need to be covered. You can't neglect ever an area, because if you neglect an area, then things can get bad if it's neglected for too long, right? So, you know, definitely you need to have that balance and have everything cleared out. Maybe that's a good assignment for you this week. Reflect on your different areas of life and then kind of see where is out of balance, where we need more balance this year. And then set action plans and follow through with those steps this week and this year. So I think that that's a great guidance for us for this week. I think that's it for our little coffee talk. Thank you for watching, and make sure that you do watch my daily morning spiritual guidance, which is a daily 5 to 10 minute message, all free on my YouTube channel, to help you start your day in a positive mood with high vibrations and always bringing God as the center of your life. Thank you, and I'll see you in just a few. Namaste. And also, one last thing, if you want to watch more of my TV shows, I have exclusive content in my website at christianramirez.com/TV. I also have a School of Light where I teach classes. I have a book club, a spiritual book club, and we have gatherings every week and class every week. You can join at christaramirez.com/school. And if you would also like to book a personal soul coaching session with me this year to help you individually on your journey, you can book at christaramirez.com/booking. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.